Welcome to the CFSCI Frequently Asked Questions. I am Dr. Roger LeBoux, Director of the We Win U Center for Cold-Formed Steel Structures. What do I do if my bearing stiffener width to thickness ratio exceeds the limit of AISI S100 Section C3.7.1? Many of the design equations contained in AISI S100 have limits of applicability. These equations are empirical, and the listed limits of applicability reflect the scope of the testing that actually serves as the basis for the equation. In the case of Section C3.7.1, which addresses the end one flange and interior one flange load conditions, the limits are the W over T sub S ratio for the stiffened and unstiffened elements of the bearing stiffener shall not exceed 1.28 times the square root of E over Fy and 0.42 times the square root of E over Fy, respectively, where Fy is the yield strength and T sub S is the thickness of the stiffener steel. These limits ensure that the stiffener will not experience local buckling. A literal application of these limits can create a design dilemma because typically the stiffener employed is a short piece of the C-section that's actually being used as the wall stud, and that C-section will typically not meet the W over T sub S limits. So what is one to do? If the framing application is an axial load-bearing multi-story construction, the primary intent of that C-section stiffener is to transfer the axial load from the upper story. Thus, the C-section is functioning primarily as a stub column, not a stiffener. Therefore, using engineering judgment, if the C-section is capable of transferring the axial load, it will be more than adequate to function as a stiffener to prevent this web crippling of the joist. Or one may use AISI S100 Section C3.7.2, which is for a two-flange loading of a C-section flexural member with bearing stiffeners that do not meet the requirements of Section C3.7.1, as you see in the equation on your screen. Another engineering judgment approach may be to use the provisions of AISI S211 for clip angle bearing stiffeners. Obviously, if the calculations are based on an angle of a given area and the C-section of a greater area is provided, a conservative solution should be achieved. AISI S211 states that the nominal web crippling strength or resistance of a floor joist connected to a rim track using a clip angle bearing stiffener shall be determined in accordance with the following equation, which is shown on the screen. The AG, Fy are the values for the C-section stiffener. If you have questions, I encourage you to go to cfsci.org and click on Ask an Expert, or call the hotline at 1-800-79-STEEL.